Hello and happy Crocktober. I am Kelly with If You Have an Egg, and today we are doing another collab with Joan's Pointed Plate. You're going to have to go check it out. You'll have to check out her YouTube. We'll all be listed there. This time, since it's October, we are doing Crocktober. So Joan has us doing Crocktober. I don't know how many of us there are this time, but it's going to be a lot and it's going to be fantastic. So let's go ahead and get started. I am doing a crock pot buffalo chicken dip. Super excited about this. I make this all the time. I normally make it in the microwave, but the crock pot is a perfect way to get this going early in the day. Let it cook all day and you are good to go. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is use a crock pot liner. I don't know if you've ever used these or not. It's invaluable. Like, I don't like to clean up. Cleaning is my least favorite thing. Don't like to do the dishes. So first thing we're going to do is put a crock pot liner in the crock pot. If you haven't found these, I am sure they are available on Amazon. I buy mine across the street at the grocery store. I'll try to find an Amazon link to these later. It's literally just a big plastic bag. They work really well. I've never had one melt. People ask me that all the time about, oh no, is it going to melt in my crock pot? I've never had one do that. So you're just going to put that in there. Be sure, because what you're going to put in here is heavy. So be sure that you pick up your insert and tuck it under just a little bit. You don't have to tuck in all of it, but tuck it under just a little bit so that this doesn't fall back in. Sorry about all the crunching noises. Okay, so now that we have our insert in the crock pot, the next thing we're going to do is start putting in our ingredients. And this recipe is so stinking easy that it's almost embarrassing to call it a recipe. This is already on IfYouHaveAnEgg.com. So if you are familiar with our website, if you're familiar with IfYouHaveAnEgg.com, it's already over there. We're going to make double this recipe today because Crocktober. Also, UT is playing Alabama today. So I know this is not going to air until next Sunday. Hopefully I will have some fantastic news for you all by then that UT has beat Alabama. But today, the day that I'm filming this video, hasn't happened yet. But I'm making a double batch of this today because we are having our Go Vols Beat Bama party shortly after this. So we're going to make a double batch. Please keep that in mind when you go over to IfYouHaveAnEgg.com and go ahead and pull up the buffalo chicken dip. I've got it in there twice. One time it is Windstar Karen's buffalo chicken dip. The other time it's just buffalo chicken dip. Both of them are recipes that I've adapted from my friend Windstar Karen. Whole nother story if you want to go over and read that sometime over on IfYouHaveAnEgg.com. But anyway, that recipe is for one batch, and that size is perfect if you want to go ahead and make it in the microwave if you just need a quick something. But because we're having a football party tonight, Go Vols beat Bama. Sorry, Bama fans, and I'm hoping that I have good news next week. Fingers crossed. We're going to make a double batch. So the first thing that you're going to start with is 8 ounces of fat-free cream cheese, if you can even find that. Our grocery stores around here have not had fat-free cream cheese since COVID started, so I started making my own. A couple of my friends make their own cream cheese, and for years I have poo-pooed them and said, I don't need to make it. I can get it. Well, I can't find it anymore, so now I make my own. This was done just in a strainer. You can also make the fat-free cream cheese with a coffee filter. You can do it with that, just like with a paper coffee filter. You can do it in one of the reusable coffee filters that has the mesh screen. This one I've just had sitting in the refrigerator for just a few hours. It's been in there for like 4 hours, I guess. You can do it overnight. It's perfect. So if you can keep some of this on hand, it does keep pretty well in a glass jar if you want to make some ahead. But this is the equivalent of 2 8-ounce fat-free cream cheeses, and you can see it is now the consistency of cream cheese. The recipe for how to make the fat-free cream cheese is already over on IfYouHaveAnEgg.com. I'm telling you, you want to keep that one in your back pocket. So thankful to my friends who made me make this. This is what's left in the bottom. You just start with non-fat plain Greek yogurt, and you're going to make your fat-free cream cheese from that. So that's going to be 0 points. You're not going to have to count any points. Doesn't have any weird things in it. Remember, I'm making this a double batch. So if you were just making a single batch, and the recipe that you're going to find on IfYouHaveAnEgg.com under buffalo chicken dip, that's going to be for a single batch, and it has 1 8-ounce fat-free cream cheese, or the equivalent of 1 8-ounce package of fat-free cream cheese if you're making your own. I'm doing a double batch, so that was double. Then we're going to do a half of a cup of fat-free ranch dressing. If you don't like fat-free, you can use light. If you're not worried about your points, if you're not doing Weight Watchers, use whatever you want to. You can use full fat cream cheese and full fat ranch and full fat, whatever you want to. But this is about a half of a cup of fat-free ranch dressing. And again, I'm doing that. A half of a cup is a double batch. So a normal batch is a fourth of a cup. I'm gonna go ahead and get that in there. The next thing that we're gonna add is another half of a cup for a double batch of non-fat plain Greek yogurt. So even if you're doing a full fat version of this, you're still going to want to use non-fat plain Greek yogurt. I don't know, it just cooks better in this recipe. It makes it creamier. It's more like sour cream when you use that. So this is an ice cream scoop. Ice cream scoops, if you go ahead and measure yours out at home, they make a great quarter of a cup scooper if you don't have a measuring cup, or if you need an alternative to a measuring cup. So this is a double batch, so I'm going to do 2 quarter cups or a half of a cup of non-fat plain Greek yogurt, and that is in addition to the fat-free cream cheese that I made with non-fat plain Greek yogurt. I also like using the ice cream scoop because look, plop, it's already out. I did not have to scoop that with a spoon. I didn't have to, wiggle it around or anything. It is already out. So double batch is going to be a half. It's going to be a half of a cup of non-fat plain Greek yogurt. A regular size batch is going to be a fourth of a cup of non-fat plain Greek yogurt. Next ingredient is Velveeta shredded cheese. If you do not have Velveeta, there went a little bit. If you do not have Velveeta shredded cheese in your area, I am so sorry. I am so sorry for you. We have it. It's a plentiful still here in Knoxville and in East Tennessee. So this is just like Velveeta cheese. It's Velveeta cheese, but it's already shredded. If you don't have this in your area, you might try just regular Velveeta and just try to shred it yourself. It doesn't add a ton of points because it's not real cheese. It is a processed cheese product. If you just can't stand the thought of that, feel free to use regular cheese. Just go ahead and count that in your points if you're doing Weight Watchers. So normally in a single batch, this would be a half of a cup of Velveeta shreds. You can do the cheddar shreds, you can do the regular flavor. Since this is a double batch, I'm going to do 1 cup. Just going to dump that right on top. Next, I'm going to get a little heavy-handed. So I love Frank's Red Hot sauce. You can use your choice of wing sauce. It does not have to be Frank's Red Hot, but I'm getting a little heavy-handed. This is going to be so heavy-handed, I'm not even bothering with Frank's. When you flip the cap up, has that little spout, so you can daintily sprinkle it onto your food. We're going to put so much in here, we're skipping that part. Now, if you have tender taste buds, you might want to do a little first, test it, see what you think, because you can always come back and add more. But believe it or not, I'm going to do almost a cup. Yeah, a half a cup is normal, and some of you all have popped out in a sweat just from watching me pour this in there. There are others of you that are like, yeah, baby, bring it on. Put some more in there. So again, I use Frank's Red Hot. That's just what I've always used. That's what my friend Winstar Karen uses. So that's the brand that I use. This is a double batch, so I put a cup in there. Again, if you have little sensitive taste buds, if they're sensitive, might want to start out with a little bit less. I have also made this with barbecue sauce I have friends who are super, like can't do anything hot, and I've done a version for them that has barbecue sauce instead of the Frank's Red Hot, just because they can't take the heat. And then the last and final ingredient is 2 cans, and it's 2 large cans of shredded chicken. But I'm going to tell you, shredded chicken was so expensive when I went across the street to Food City to get these ingredients. I didn't do canned chicken this time. In the recipe on IfYouHaveAnEgg.com, you are going to see 2 large cans of shredded chicken. You absolutely can use that. I went ahead, though, it was cheaper to get this giant bag of Tyson Grilled and Ready, and it is pulled chicken breast, and so it's already pulled, and you will see it's already the consistency of canned chicken. So I'm going to put the equivalent, and I'm just going to guess at this. I'm not measuring this part of it, but I'm going to put the equivalent of 2 cans, and maybe even a little bit more, since chicken breast is a 0-point food for me. You're going to want to scan this and make sure, if you're doing Weight Watchers, you're going to want to scan this and make sure this is going to come out okay for you on your point. But this entire bag was on sale for $8.99, and just one can of the shredded chicken today was like $4.59. I still have half of this bag left, and this is in the frozen section. I still have half of this bag left. I paid $8.99 for it today. I still have half of the bag left, so I could make another round of the chicken dip, or we can use it later for some fajitas or something like that. Yeah, for way less than what it was going to be for the canned chicken today. But you are absolutely more than welcome to make the canned chicken. Okay, so we've got all of our ingredients in there. Give them a little stir, and we're going to go ahead and put the lid on the crock pot. We're going to let this cook for, I'm going to put it on low because we don't need it in a hurry. When you put this on low, you're going to let it cook for about 4 to 6 hours on low. Wouldn't go much past the 6 hours. If you need it in a hurry, you could go ahead and put it on high, but you're going to need to keep an eye on it. So this is going to come together really fast. Again, this is something that you can make in the microwave if you don't have much time. But yeah, so it's going to come together really fast. So 2 hours on high, maybe, but I would keep an eye on it and keep stirring it. Or if you're going to put it on low, you can do 4 to 6 hours. And then if your crock pot has a warm setting, just pop it over to warm when you're done, and it'll be ready to serve. So I'll be back in a couple of hours to show you what it looks like. And a few hours later, we are done. You have made your buffalo chicken dip in the crock pot. Thank you for Crocktober from Joan's Pointed Plate. I hope that you will visit everyone that I've got listed below who also participated in Crocktober. Remember, this recipe is on IfYouHaveAnEgg.com. You can go ahead and hop over there and get it. It's just under buffalo chicken dip. That is IfYouHaveAnEgg.com. I hope that if you enjoyed this YouTube video that you'll let the next one roll over. I promise you'll enjoy it too. And I hope you'll subscribe down here. Click that little bell so that you know when we have our next video. Let me show you how this looks. You're just going to give it a quick stir, put it in something fun. You can serve it with carrots, celery. Buffalo chicken dip's really good with celery. And honestly, if you're doing Weight Watchers, this is so low point that you could even serve it with some tortilla chips, some pretzels, some crispy bread, like some crostini bread. That would be fantastic. But here you go. Here's your buffalo chicken dip. I'll post some pictures over on If You Have an Egg, and I hope you enjoy. Thanks for participating in Crocktober, and see you next time.